only swimming with the whale, what you can do there, which is beautiful. It's an experience you never will forget. Our aim was going for sunken treasure. So why looking in Tonga for sunken shipwrecks? The main treasure highway of the 17th, 18th century was the Manila route, which was from Acapulco going to Manila, making trade with Asia and back. But also the pirates knew about this route, so the captains looked for alternative routes to go to Manila or to go back. One proven route, because of many reasons, was Tonga. So there's a lot of wrecks which are still wrecked on reefs, or because of people killed by the Tongan warriors. So, but they're still lying there undiscovered. In 2010, Don McIntyre, a great adventurer and a sailor from Australia, he was in Tonga preparing his recreation of the Captain Bligh journey. Captain Bligh and his crew after the mutiny of the Bounty, they sailed from Tonga to East Timor. He did the same journey, and when he was there, he heard about the rumors from local fishermen about all the sunken treasure which is around. Underwater discovery is really hard. You need the equipment. You have to go diving. You have to, depend on how deep it is. You need submarines. We didn't went there with a submarine, but because of this, the country and the kingdom, they encouraged him to go there to help him to find this treasure and to get it out of the water. All the treasure which is in the water of Tonga belongs to the kingdom and the people who live there. So 2011, this expedition started. So, what do you look out for when you go on the water, maybe also in Bali, when you want to look for a sunken ship? First is the shape, like you look at the shape for sure. When you go in the water, you don't see a ship with a mast. You have to look like for an unusual shape underneath the corals. If you're lucky, you can find like cannons, or you see a winch, or you find cooper sheeting. So the expedition, like the last 4 years, the wrecks that were found were mostly found just by going down there with a metal detector. But then after you found this, the actual work really starts, because you have to make a survey of the environment, you have to map all the items you will find in the water, and you have to also investigate where is this coming from. So the actual work really starts afterwards. It's a long time until you get everything out of the water. Yeah, just go back 10 seconds. So this search will go on for the next year, and also the work which we are doing there. This is a magnetometer. It's like with a metal detector you can go down and you have like 2 meters area around you where you can search. With a magnetometer you have like about 30 meters deep where you can go and search for. So last year we started with this instrument, and we will go on with the work with the mag this year. There's a dive team which we will set up on Nomuko Ike. It's a beautiful island in the Hapai group. The dive team will also work there. We are looking for about 5-6 people this year. It's not always fun. It's not always like that you can go for a dive, and sometimes the weather is not so good and you just go out to snorkel and to swim and dive with the whales. So if you're up for an adventure, if you want to know more about Tongan history and sunken shipwrecks, listen to great pirate stories told by the captain, being on a remote island, you love diving, you want to be waked up by the whales in the morning, you're invited to join.
Thank you, Annette. Now, one thing we do at PECHA KUCHA Night Hubud is we have questions. Yeah. So, are there any questions from the audience?
Did you find any gold?
Did you find any gold?
Yeah, if you found a ship, it's normally you don't know what is on the ship. It can be fabric, can be just be a whaler. So as I said, it's a long work. It's like not in a movie. It's not you're going down and say, oh yeah, gold. But we found stuff. Yeah.
Are they still pirates? Are they still pirates?
They are always
Are there still pirates?
Yeah, for sure. Our captain is a really pirate.
I have a question. What skills that you had as a creative director from the advertising world did you bring with you to the ocean, and what skills were totally useless? And
my ticket, I was not totally useless. Thank God. No, my ticket joining actually was like, I was really into digital. I had two goals during the journey. I was taking care of all the equipment, like the magnetometer and me, we became best friends. And I was also, while I was doing this journey to stay on board and for not paying, I made the website for them, so, and the social media stuff. And I go back this year. I'm looking forward. Yeah.
All right, thanks very much, Annette. Now, at Hubud, we're always trying to innovate, and one of our innovations for this 22nd version of PechaKucha Night is a live Twitter feed. So if you're a tweet head, I don't know if Daniel Ziv's here, but if he is, he should start tweeting. We have live tweets that are going up, and we might read some of them out if time allows. Okay, our second speaker tonight is called Bruce Nickel. And Bruce has at various times and in various sequences been a composer and performer, a cancer survivor, a cathedral musician, a university lecturer, a Waldorf teacher, a new home builder, a family man, and a father of 4 children. He's been a busy guy. As with many generations on his father's side of the family, he is happiest when he's cultivating unfrozen earth. And that's impossible right now because he's Canadian and the city where he's from, Ottawa, is chock full of snow and ice and it's very chilly. He's in Bali now visiting Janet Nickel, his sister, and myself. He's actually staying at our house, so we're lucky to have him. And tonight he's going to talk about a farm in an unexpected place. Bruce Nickel.
Yes, so I live in Ottawa, Canada, and for the last 5 years I've been running an urban farm. Together with me and 8 other households, we grow this together, and over the last 5 years, 6 years, the members of the farm have been telling me why the farm is so important to them. And I would like to share with you what they have been telling me over the years. So the farm is in Ottawa. It's 1/3 of an acre. It's in the middle of the town. It's kind of secret because it's completely surrounded by the backyards of existing homes. It came to me, as I say, 6 years ago. I saw it. I knew it was fantastic. I knew I wanted to garden it. I've been gardening all my life, but I knew it was too big for me. So I wrote up a kind of a manifesto about how other people could join, how much it would cost, how it would work. And I explained it to a good friend of mine. And his eyes glazed over, and he said, "What you just said is what Joseph Stalin wanted." So I thought maybe it's too prescriptive. So I backed off, and I decided to use the Tom Sawyer method. I just started gardening. And people would come along and say, "What are you doing?" I'd say, "Gardening." And they would say, "Can I garden too?" And I would say, "Sure." And then they would say, "What are the rules?" And I said, "There aren't any." So 3 people joined me, and many others said, "As soon as you have rules, let me know and I'll join." So I learned there, well, I learned what we all know, people like rules. But I also learned again that some of us really like it when we don't know what's going to happen next. So I enjoyed working with that small group for a while, but it really is a farm, it's not a social experiment. So I went back to the manifesto, dusted it off we went. And we do now have a structure, as I said, with the 8 households. We grow all the one plot. We garden it all together. We share all the food. We share all the processing, and it does have some rules, but it doesn't have very many. So that's another little takeaway I learned: is that rules, yes, but the fewer the rules, the more room you leave for people to do stuff with their own initiative. The last thing I'll say about the rules and my manifesto is, as I mentioned, I spent a lot of time in a leadership position at the Waldorf School in Canada, and I learned the glories of working with collective organizations. And I decided that for this farm, it would be a dictatorship. So the dispute mechanism is me. But by having few rules, it's left a lot of room for people to show some initiative. So we grow all kinds of things. There's the honey, we've got chickens, all manner of vegetables, flowers. We make pesto pots, sauerkraut, kimchi, spouses, really the eight households. We've never had a dispute about there not being enough food. The other thing I learned, of course, is that if you have 1/3 of an acre and you really cultivate it well, it produces a lot of food. So we call it the farm. So for me, there was a differentiation between gardening and farming. When you go from 20 tomato plants to 200, you're moving somewhere else. I'm there every day, I'm the head gardener. You just have a different kind of relationship to it. And one of the things I've noticed from that is you begin to kind of identify with primary food producers all over the world. And we know that primary food producers are pretty well everywhere on the bottom rung of the socioeconomic ladder. And I experienced that in the first couple of years when I would take extra food and sell it to restaurants. And on more than one occasion, I would make an arrangement with the owner of the restaurant, who would be a friend of mine. And then I would show up at the door, you know, in my farm clothes, and a box of food, and the sous chef would say, "Who the hell are you? We don't need any of your stuff. Get out of here." Or they'd say, "I'm here with this food at this arranged price. Way too expensive. Leave." So you begin to wonder, why farm? Why would anyone want to farm? You're never going to earn any money. You know, organic farmers aren't wintering in Bali. They're just not able to do it. So I'll come back to that in a minute. So here we are, Ottawa, the hotbed of social rest. So why do we have these 8 families all doing this farming together? Of course, we're not alone. It's a phenomenon that's sweeping the Western world, as we know. It has a history with the Schreber gardens in Germany, allotment gardens all over the place. So we're just following along in the same sort of thing. So what are the benefits? What are people telling me? Some of them are obvious. You know, they say food quality. They know they're providing good food for their families. Food security. They can sort of see in a bigger sense how important it is to have some control over the nature and the quality of our food, and how that's a bigger issue as well. So they do talk about food security in a broader sense. But that's not the main reason why they keep coming back. There's a bit of a stick it to the man element. You know, you buy a packet of seeds for $1 and you pay a couple of cents in sales tax. When you plant all the seeds, grow all the plants, harvest all the food, eat for a week, and you have contributed nothing to GDP, and you have greatly lessened your ecological footprint. So there's a little bit of a subversive element in there that the group like and talk about. But that's not the main reason why they keep coming back and why they love it so much. There is also this notion of food and its cost and its worth. Members of the farm, you know, will see what it takes to harvest a potato, and then they'll come back from the market saying, "My God, they're charging $1 a potato." So they're starting to put that together. So that's an interesting thing, but not the main reason why they keep coming back. There's a strong social element to the farm. You saw the music going on. We dine together, we have glasses of wine together. But really, gardening and farming is a solitary activity, and most of us show up and work there by ourselves. So that's not the main reason why they keep coming back. There's a physical activity part of it, which people talk about and like. I myself certainly notice it. My own yoga practice diminishes in the summer because I'm working and stretching and moving while I'm in the garden. But that again is not really the main reason why they keep coming back. What I'm really hearing is people say they love it so much because they arrive, they put down their city things. I should mention earlier that the one thing that all this group have in common is none of us have a rural background. We're all urban dwellers for at least several generations. They say, I put my things down, I go out into the garden, I look at the whiteboard and see what the jobs are. I started doing menial tasks, and I realized after 10 minutes, I'm relaxed, I'm breathing, I'm moving. I've forgotten about what's going on. My brain is occupied with this repetitive menial task, which might not even have an end. So what I realized is that when you are cultivating the earth, you're cultivating a relationship with the plants. And the deeper that relationship goes, the more you get to know the plants. You get to wake up with them. You see what it's like when they go to bed. You see how they go through the day. You can see the differences in when you harvest them and eat them at different hours in the day. You get to see that each plant's different. Every day is different. Every season is different. And really, what we're doing, any of us that are doing this in this kind of scale, is we're reconnecting with the tradition that our species has been doing for 30,000 years, or since time immemorial. It's really connecting with something that our ancestors have done. And when I say ancestors, I mean ancestors. And that's what they keep talking about as the main reason that they wanted to farm.
Good.
Bruce, we're going to have questions. Bruce, you don't get as many questions.
Yeah, okay.
You don't get as many because you went over time. But
I'm sorry.
We might do a question or two. Any questions for Bruce about the farm?
I went over time, obviously.
I have a question for you. You've been in Indonesia for a few weeks. Have you had any agricultural experiences while you've been here?
Yeah, I was over in Java, and I went right over in the countryside and visited a farm. It's actually a colleague of Pete who lives right out there in the village. And I went walking out into the rice paddy, and what do I see right there along the rice paddy? Couch grass. That same weed that bothers the heck out of me in my little garden in Ottawa is growing all the way through the field in Indonesia. So I felt, I'm going to tip my hat to the Indonesian farmers, and we're both dealing with couch grass as a weed.
How many months a year can you farm?
The question is, how many months a year can you farm?
Well, I start the plants indoors in March, and by April we can put them out. Still frost in April, so we can start planting the arugulas and the shoulder crops. And then around about the middle of May, there's no more frost, so out go the tomatoes, the eggplants, the cabbages, and so on. And then the thing about farming in Ottawa, which is so far north, is the summer's quite condensed. So it happens fast. And I tell you, you can literally watch a plant grow on one of those hot July days. And then the first frost will come in around October, but we've got some cold frame, so we're still harvesting the shoulder crops into November. But you saw the slide about winter. It's serious, the winter.
All right, our last question right here.
Yeah. How many? You have a surplus for the 8 families. How many people can 1.3 acres feed?
The question is, how many people can 1.3 acres feed?
It's only a third of an acre. It's only a third of an acre. Yeah. I would say we could probably, it's hard to know, because feed, I mean, most of us aren't buying any vegetables all summer long, but certainly I could probably manage up to 12 families. But the surplus does go to a women's shelter nearby, and it's considerable. But it's really about the management, If the whole crop of things are ready, there's only so much people need at any one time, so that's why the processing part of it comes into it. But it's astounding when you really cultivate a small piece of land thoroughly. It's really easy.
All right, thank you, Bruce. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the first time we've had the screen up here for people to tweet, and it's probably going to be the last because there's just not a lot of Twitter action. There's 1 or 2 people around here that are tweeting, but other than that, so if you like the screen, then please go ahead and tweet. If you don't, then just don't. Just ignore it. Maybe we should shut it off. All right, our third speaker tonight, Faye Alun, is one of the co-founders of Kumpul, which is the newest co-working space in Bali. It's located in Sanur. She's passionate about networking and connecting people, sharing skills, volunteering, and community development. And she spent the last 12 years working in post-conflict development sector in Indonesia, Pakistan, Zimbabwe, Yemen, mainly with Médecins Sans Frontières. She recently moved to Bali to work with VSO to establish the Active Citizenship and National Volunteering Program here. And with Kumpul, she aims to encourage the growth of local entrepreneurs and promote skill sharing and encourage a collaborative environment. Faye Alun.
Hi, my name is Faye. I got Chinese look, Western name, and Indonesian passport, so it's pretty confusing. And that's my husband Dennis. We were in the bush of Zimbabwe working with MSF, Doctors Without Borders. We spent a few years working with MSF. Most of the time it was in difficult places. In post-conflict Ambon and post-tsunami Aceh, I worked with mobile clinic going around to IDP camps. So we were working in a leaking market under the tree, and there were just places you couldn't reach by car. In post-earthquake Kashmir, Pakistan, I had to live in tent. So it was super hot in summer and super cold in winter, very comfortable. And we got only one latrine for 30-ish people. And it was literally just a hole in the ground. And after a month, something got higher and higher. So we said to each other, the only solution here is either you get constipated or you get diarrhea to fill in the corners. And after that, it was hard, but the work was so worth it. So, as you can see here, we did like handmade puppet show for children to normalize behavior change after big disaster. After that, we went to Zimbabwe, so that's where I met Dennis, my husband. We worked in one district where they have 17,000 HIV patients. It was during the crazy inflation, so with your Zimbabwean dollars, today you can buy maybe 10 bananas, and tomorrow it will only get you one. So it was very difficult to get things. There were days we only ate cabbage every day. And in Yemen, we also worked with HIV project. At that time, stigma was a big problem, I think until now. And also, because they think HIV is a sinner's disease, so if you have HIV, you can be put in jail. And also they have problems with universal standard precautions. We had a lot of challenges, I met a 2-year-old, she was positive, the parents were negative because she got unscreened blood transfusion. We got many challenges, but then the team worked great. And apart from all the miseries and hard work, we had fun, and we took every opportunity to share happiness. People came from many backgrounds and worked together, and the result was just magic. And then after that, we went back to Indonesia. I got a job in Bali, working with PSO, as Peter said, and then he started his own company because that happened. So NSF is really just like not the place to have babies, I guess. So we moved to Bali. We loved it here, but the first 1 to 2 years were pretty hard. It was very difficult to break in, to get connected to local community, to get connected to local networks. We hope we can be part of something here. After a while, we did, but then at the beginning, it was very difficult. We thought it would be so cool if there's a space that you can come and meet other professionals, and possibly new friends. We didn't know the term co-working at that time. Hubud also didn't exist at the time. So we started talking and did some research, and we decided, let's open a co-working space with a focus on local community, which was also a challenge. Because when you say co-working to Indonesians, they say, what? But after some explaining, they say, this is a good idea, we really need this type of place. But we weren't sure Indonesian would be on board. So we did some pre-opening events, and we were surprised to see 90% who came were Indonesian. We named it Kumpul, which in Indonesian means together or to be together. We also learned there's a direct link between entrepreneurship and economic development of a country. Singapore has 7 to 8% entrepreneurs, and USA is 14.5. Indonesia, 0.8%. So with Kumpul, we hope to encourage the growth of local entrepreneurs and hopefully in the long run contribute to the development of this country. The course of serendipity brought us to meet idealistic, creative people behind Rumah Sanur. When we talked to them, it's like, we have the same vision, to encourage local businesses, local artists. And Rumah Sanur is a creative hub in Sanur. They will have us, Kumpul co-working space, but then also open air stage, concept store, art gallery, coffee culture, coffee house, and a beer garden. So that's important. It's located 500 meters from the beach, so you just need to walk 500 meters to the beach. And there are discussions among co-working spaces to see if we can have member exchange agreement. So if you ever want to be by the beach a little bit, go down the mountain of Hubud a little bit, you're welcome. We believe co-working space is about collaboration and not competition. And this culture of collaboration was confirmed when we attended the co-working Conference Asia a couple of weeks ago. At the end of the conference, there was a decision to create Asia Co-working Alliance, where things like member exchange, skill sharing, technical support between co-working spaces are encouraged. So some people already start working in Kumpul, even though our official date is still the 1st of March. When we say our focus is on local community, it does not mean people from outside Bali is not welcome. It's the other way around. We want Kumpul to be the home of local community, so people who just arrived, like us years ago, know where they can go to get connected, to be with local people, to be connected with local networks. So it really doesn't matter where you're from. What's important is that Kumpul is for people who want to be here, who want to be part of a community here, who want to share and to collaborate with people here. So our mantra in Indonesian, berbagi itu bertambah. But the more we share, the more we have. With Kumpul, we really hope we can put this mantra into life. Thank you.
Thank you, Faye. Any questions for Faye?
Hi. Why did you go for such good quality of your space? Your space is amazing. Why did you go?
He said, why did you go for such good quality at your space?
I don't know actually. Like what do you mean by good quality?
So if you can be a Peter's space, I'm a member of security. But you go to yours. Security. You've got like beautiful tables and stuff. This is something.
He said your space is nicer than Hubud's. Why?
Actually, I mean, it was not intentional. If you talk about the tables, you know, I mean, we just put creativity into the space. We really try to focus on, let's say, community. I don't know if we're gonna succeed on that. But then, looking at the space now, it's still pretty empty, but we're trying our best with our limited budget. So, for example, the table. People say it looks amazing, but actually, it's the leftover wood, because the solid wooden tables is just so expensive. So we collected like small pieces of solid wood and then put it together and then make like the table. So it's like wood from different colors. And people say like, it looks amazing. So I was like, wow, it works, you know.
Any other questions for Faye? Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that a lot of local people had discovered co-working, so you have to do a lot of training. So what do you think your biggest challenge will be trying to get local people?
So I'm just going to repeat the question so the people back in here. The question is, what is your biggest challenge to get local people engaged in the space?
I think when we talk to Indonesian or local community, when I see the sparkling in their eyes, they're like, oh yeah, that's what I need, you know. First is, okay, internet, but then also network. Apparently, it's not only us people from outside Bali. I say us because I also I'm not from Bali. I grew up in Jakarta, so we just arrived in Bali 4 years back. So it's not only for us from people outside Bali, but then even Balinese or people who've been living here their whole life. It's a bit difficult to get out of your own network, you know, to reach out. So I think maybe if we can make sure we have enough diversity in the co-working space to make sure that it's not only from one network. That's something that we are looking for to get to know other people, to learn, and yeah. I think I know someone said to me the other day. Was it you, Andy? I don't know. That most Balinese have businesses in concrete stuff, like, you know, either they're selling something. But then I think there's also this yearning to learn some soft skills, and maybe there's also something that we can offer.
All right, thank you, Faye. see we have some very enthusiastic audience members, Andy being the chief one. If you have questions for our speakers, we ask the speakers to stick around afterwards and chat in the courtyard. So if you do have any extra questions and you want to chat with people, they'll be outside afterwards. Okay, so we're midway through. We're halfway through the lineup for tonight, and that's the point of the evening. Those of you that have been here before, where I asked Steve Monroe, my co-founder at Hubud, to come up and do a little song and dance routine. So here he is, Steve Monroe.
For the record, I have never sang or danced, but I might do it at version number 23. Stay tuned. So the last slide said, if anybody's interested in being a PechaKucha speaker, it's terrifying, but it's amazing. So if you'd like to, if you've got a story to share, get in touch, events@hubud.org, and my man Vito here will make it happen. And if you want to get in touch with us, we're Hubud Bali on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I wanted to take just a minute to tell you about the new company that we've launched, that we've kind of been in the process of launching for the last several months, and it's been live for the last month and a half. So we've become quite well known globally as a place of destination working, and we've had lots of people coming from around the world who are interested in this a new way of working and doing this in kind of a global connected community in interesting places around the world. So we launched a company called Turnpoint, which is a destination education company that provides intensive learning experiences for entrepreneurs, career shifters, and global citizens who are interested in getting into this new way of working or living. We have a bunch of courses coming up over the next few months, and they focus essentially on either the mindset people need to thrive in the new global economy, and the skill set they need to make the life pivots along the journey if they're switching careers or kind of skilling up their game. As Peter said, Hubud's been open for 2 years. We have around 30 free events per month for our members that cover a wide range of topics. You can take a look on our Facebook page. And coming up, March 5th. So our birthday, our official birthday is March 4th. March 4th will be us open for 2 years. Feels kind of like 200 most weeks, at least to us. So we're having our annual town hall meeting, which is a meetup of all kind of Hubud members, past or present, where we kind of go through a little bit of where we are and where we're going over the next year, and we'll have a lot of really important announcements to make at that time. So stay tuned. If you're a member, if you're not, come on out March 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve Monroe. I'm looking forward to the singing and the dancing next time. Just an important announcement. The Twitter feed has been saved. Thank you for those of you that are taking part. Daniel Ziv is here. He's an Indonesian Twitter celebrity. He will also be available in the courtyard afterwards if you have questions about how to get your Twitter numbers up. He's an expert, so that'll be good. What's the Wi-Fi password? I believe it's on the wall over there. Do you want to read it out real quick in case people want to get online? Here, come up, Vito, come up and announce it, because I can't see it.
Okay, the password is B3T3LNU7.
Let me do that one more time, because that was a bit fast.
It's B3T3LNU7.
All right. Thank you, Vito. Two more quick announcements for the space. Two quick announcements for the space. Here at BetelNut on Thursday, the 19th of February, there's the Chantika CD release concert. Tomoka is a pioneer of oboe improvisation, and she will be performing here. That's coming up on the 19th of February. And then on the 21st of February, Saturday the 21st, Rizal and Alessandria are featuring the Ubud Strings Collective, and that'll be on the 21st of February. If you have questions, you can ask Tara and Odek. They have the full lineup for this month. Okay, on to our next speaker. Iputu Wiraguna is a young Balinese entrepreneur originally from West Bali, who is interested in preserving and protecting the traditional way of life and the natural beauty of Bali in partnership with local village communities. He's the co-founder of Wirausaha Bali, an organization that seeks to create collectively owned and operated enterprises for economic, social, and environmental sustainability. Puta Wiraguna.
Alright. Hello, PechaKucha night. Alright. Om Swastiastu, my name is Wira. I'm from Jemberana Regency, West Bali. I'm a co-founder of Wirausaha. What we're doing is we create we organize collective enterprises to help the local. Tonight, I would love you to know our project that we create to help the local community in West Bali. But before that, I'm going to show you my beautiful home in West Bali. In West Bali, it seems like other part in Bali, they have their own unique culture. They have their own unique cultures like